So we're in the home stretch. How are you feeling, Sarah Longwell? And Michael, I'm going to ask Sarah a couple more questions in the beginning than you, because I only have her for a limited amount of time. Okay.
Yeah,
and you and I are going to talk about, this is Black History Week. This is February for the for the Harris campaign. All right, Sarah, how are you feeling in this home stretch?
Well, since I'm basically, I've become a Democrat now, I think what I've caught from working with Democrats is that this is the bedwetting phase, right? This is the part where, Republicans don't do this we don't panic the way that Democrats do. And so the more I spend time with Democrats, the more I kind of it's like contagious. I had to get rubber sheets for my mattress, and it's all very nerve wracking. And just emails constantly of everybody being like, "How you feeling? How you feeling?" And I think that there's it induces panic amongst each other, right? It's like the way conventional wisdom spread. It's like panic spreads this way. And look, I don't feel awesome because Donald Trump is an existential threat to the United States and our democracy. And so, when the stakes are so high, you shouldn't feel good ever. And you don't feel good when things are as close as they are. Now, just because I don't feel good and just because I'm scared, though, doesn't mean that it's a dire situation. You'd still rather be her than him. She is still up in the key states. She's holding her numbers with older white voters, which I think was the demographic I was the most concerned about in the early days when the switcheroo happened. But she's doing great. I mean, she's blowing the doors off with college-educated voters.
If I can jump in here, you really do, because look, if you I listen to these strategy meetings on two-way, you know what I'm talking about, all this stuff. Mm-hmm. They're like, hey, Trump's got the momentum. I'd rather be him than her at this point. By the way, Sarah, you still consider yourself a Republican, right?
I'm more like a renegade independent these days. I think Michael still wants to hang out with the tribe, but it's too hard when Trump controls the Republican Party to stay part of the brand for me.
I just want to make sure that I don't want to refer to you. I don't want to misparty you. Okay.
Well, I still believe in limited governments, free markets, and American leadership in the world. Whether those are Republican values anymore remains to be seen.
No, I think that's probably more independent values now. I think the Republicans have completely put themselves over into the MAGA party, have morphed into the MAGA party, and not slowly, but very quickly. Okay, so I appreciate that. Michael, I'm going to get you in. Michael's still a Republican. Sarah is a Republican-ish independent now. So let's put the polls up, because Sarah is right. I've always said, and I think it's not my saying, but people have said as well, Democrats wet the bed, Republicans fall in line, right? So Democrats are now wetting the bed and they're nervous. Here's some of the polls. The new poll, NBC poll, Harris gets support from 48% of registered voters. Trump gets an identical 48%. That is a notable change from September NBC News poll, which found Harris leading Trump by 5 points, which is 49 to 44%. Meanwhile, that's why I think Republicans are saying he's got the momentum now, but we'll see, because he's still, he's up and she's down if you're looking at what happened in the NBC poll between September and now. Meanwhile, a CBS News YouGov poll conducted from October 8th to 11th found Harris ahead of Trump by 3 percentage points, with the vice president garnering 51% support from registered voters to Trump's 48%. And I should note that's within the margin of error. However, it is also a smaller lead than Harris held over Trump in September's CBS poll. So I'm curious to know what both of you think about this polling. It's tightening. Is it tightening, or is it an illusion? Because the 538 polling aggregate seems to suggest that it's the latter, that it is just an illusion. It's not tightening. You, Sarah, and then Michael.
Yeah, I think what happened is she got a big bump coming out of the debate. And some of that has come back down to earth. Now, because Democrats had such a big spending advantage as well, Democrats started dumping their ads late. And so that may be having a little bit of an impact. Here's the thing.
Yes.
Like I said, she's holding her numbers with these white voters, these older white voters. And guess where they live? They live in Pennsylvania, Michigan, and Wisconsin, and Nebraska too. I am much less in this election. There's a lot of conventional wisdom about, she's got to be up by 4 points nationally in order to win. And I'm not looking at that anymore, because I think those national numbers are getting skewed by the fact that Trump is overperforming in places like Florida, in places like Texas, California. That's right. Where it doesn't matter. Where it doesn't matter. We're at Pennsylvania, Michigan, Wisconsin, Nebraska too. That's the ball game, and she is up in all of those. And this is why I'd rather be her than him. She's still doing well there. Biden won him last time. I feel okay about that path.
Okay, Mr. Steele.
Yeah, I trust the lady who's actually talking to voters as opposed to spending 5 minutes on a phone call with them or 10 minutes. I think Sarah's analysis.
Michael, real quick before, does it matter that he is, popping in and out of Coachella and whatever and using people as props for a photo op?
No, because I don't think so. I mean, look, Donald Trump is going to do Donald Trump stuff.
Okay.
I think a lot of people have that baked in. I mean, he's going to be at Madison Square Garden at the end of October. Why? Well, I don't know. It doesn't make sense if you're its campaign manager to put your campaign when you need battleground states to go to a non-battleground state, because Donald Trump believes he actually can win New York. So
Okay.
look, there have been since the debate, since the switch, those two events, there have been two campaigns for Trump. One that LaCivita and Wiles want to run, and two, the one that Donald Trump is running. So at the end of the day, they're going to do things in the next few weeks that just even defy the plan that LaCivita and company have in play, because Donald Trump has in his mind how he's going to win. Fine. I think, though, the race is where Sarah says it is. I think it is tight, yes, and it does piss me off a bit to see numbers, because sometimes the numbers can confuse and lead people to believe something that isn't necessarily true when they say, oh, it's now 48-48. What these polls, especially the national polls, are not taking into account, and this is where you listen to someone like Sarah, they're not taking into account people who just registered, people who the 400, 800, a million people that have registered in the last 6-8 weeks since the switch, who are followed Taylor Swift and said, yes, let me click on after the great performance at the National Convention for Democrats to sign up. Those folks aren't showing up in national polling. Those folks aren't readily identifiable. You don't sign up through Taylor Swift's, site and then not vote, right? So there's a level of energy.
Donald Trump.
Right, you're not voting for Donald Trump. So there's a level of energy there that's not accurately captured, which is why I've never been a fan of national polls. And 2016 proved that.
Yeah.
But I think, look, the race is close. It will be. The turnout models will matter. They do matter. The ground gaming here does matter. Keep in mind, there are a lot of Republicans doing this right now, Don, because guess what? They brought in Laura Trump, who knows jack about running campaigns. They fired the staff that kind of put together the plan to run the operations on the ground because they wanted to capture the money. They don't have the ground game. I talked to state party officials in the Republican Party. A lot of them aren't happy because they don't have resources to keep up and to compete. Well, so it's not just the top, it's the down ballot races that are going to be impacted as well.
Yeah, but I mean, look, look at the polling still, and even without that, and I agree with you about Lara Trump. It's like, wait, what? Also, hey, quickly though, Sarah, and I think I've heard you talk about this. I know Tim Miller has talked about it on the Bulwark about, Trump going for the manosphere. Michael mentioned, these people, the Taylor Swift, right, voter, not being picked up in polling. Are the Aiden Ross voters being picked up in polling? The Theo Vaughn folks being picked up in polling as well?
Yeah, I think they are. And I think this is, and this is fundamentally why I believe that Kamala Harris is going to eke this out ultimately. And it is this. to the extent that this is becoming a girls versus boys election, and the
It
polling, especially for the younger voters, shows an enormous stratification, just an enormous gap between men and women. And it's because they live in completely different media ecosystems, right? The men are living in these Theo Von, Joe Rogan ecosystems, and women are, I guess, call her daddy. That's not something I was familiar with until Kamala Harris did it. But they just live in these different media ecosystems. But here's the thing: if you had to stake your election on young men turning out, young men of all colors, that's who you're going to turn out in high proportion, or on women turning out. Which would you rather be doing better with? And I would take women, not only because I think they're more reliable voters, but also because there's just more of them. There's more of them and they vote at a higher rate. And so I would rather take women over men. The Trump campaign has completely abdicated women, trying to even get them, and they are just trying to pump up the numbers with these men. I think a lot of them, they're doing something else on election day.
Can I just contextualize that?
Let me just say that you can. I'll just say, especially you want black women on your side always, because they are the most loyal voters. But go on.
So this is how this plays out. Brother gets up on election day and he's like, I've got my Trump on, I'm gonna do my thing, and he gets his
wife is like, no, you ain't.
and he goes and he pulls up to the polling place and he sees a line that's 6 hours long. You think that brother's gonna stand in that line? Now, when he got other business to take care of, no, that issue's not happening. Trust me. So Sarah's exactly right. His girl will stand there. His wife will stand there. His mother will stand there. His sister will stand there. But he is not taking 6 hours out of his day plus to stand in a line to vote for Donald Trump. And to Sarah's point, when that's what you're relying on, and that's what you're going to try to turn out at 3 o'clock in the afternoon after you get the midday results, that's what you're going to try to turn out at 5 o'clock when you get the afternoon results in. That's going to be really hard. And, okay, he's going to show up after work and then stand in the polls because there's a 4-hour line yet. And they say, we're going to keep everybody in line until 10, 11 o'clock at night. It's just a different mindset, because those male voters have not been groomed to participate in the process, which is a whole nother conversation we can have. But the reality of it is, if that's your go-to, a pair of gold lame sneakers ain't going to be enough.
Yeah. And I'll just add on this women point, one of the numbers that I've been watching closely is how much better Kamala Harris is doing than Joe Biden with white non-college women, right? These white non-college women have historically, they've been breaking for Trump. But one of the reasons that she's doing 4 or 5 points better, which again is really important in the kind of states that she has to win, that is likely the effect of Dobbs. And so just Donald Trump has not been on a ballot since Dobbs happened. And I think with sort of secular working class women, Dobbs is really important. And these are not people who can afford to just, I'm just going to travel to a different state. Like, they care about this issue. And maybe it's not overwhelming, but enough to earn her a 4 or 5 point bump with that group. Well, that is big in a state like Pennsylvania or Michigan. So that is what keeps me, I guess, calm in a lot of this.
Okay, same. Okay,
now it sounds strange to a lot of men, especially young men, when I tell them this and they say, what is your issue? I said, I'm a one issue voter. I mean, look, I know that there are many things that matter, but what matters most to me in this upcoming election is a woman's right to choose. And I can say selfishly, because if they come for a woman's right to choose, what is to say that they won't come for me as a gay man for my right to be able to get married, or as a black man for any other rights? So if you take a woman's right away to be able to do with her own body, which she and her doctor decide needs to be done, that is problematic for me as a man.
So the rest is easy.
Right. So the rest is easy. And also, in that vein, the Supreme Court matters to me. I would prefer a balanced Supreme Court. I wouldn't want a Supreme Court, quite frankly, that's too liberal. I wouldn't want one that's too conservative. I think we need some balance in the Supreme Court. And the next president is going to it's really going to decide the balance, you know what I mean, of the Supreme Court. So that is what I'm voting on. And I've been asking my subscribers and anyone to tune in, women, talk to your man, talk to your mans, and tell him, because the stats show, I'm not being sexist, women take care of the household.
Yep.
They buy all the products in the house. They decide everything that goes in the house, the kids, whatever, the soccer unit, all of that. And so talk to your guys and say, look, this is important to me. So I don't want to preach to women, but that's what I would like men to sit back, put themselves in whatever woman is in their life, whether it's their mom, their aunt, their sister, or their girlfriend, or their wives, and think about what it would be like to be in their shoes. Okay, that's all I'm saying.
Thanks for watching, everyone. Make sure you hit the like button. It helps us with the algorithm. And also, we'd love for you to become a subscriber. So hit that button too. We're live every day at 10 a.m. Eastern Time and 5 p.m. Eastern, so there's plenty of content for you to check out.